Hello? Let me get all my stuff here. That was a wonderful introduction. I sometimes listen when someone does such a kind introduction, and I think to myself, who is this guy? But I'll tell you, you can never get too big an ego. I remember the first time, take a card. The first time I gave a keynote speech at a writers' conference. And the conference director, before he brought me out, said, let me just do a few announcements. I said, sure. So he goes out and he says, look, he talked about the parking and some other issues. And then he said, now at the back of your program, you're going to see an evaluation. Now here's what I don't want you to write. Please don't write, get Anne Lamott as our keynote speaker. You have to understand it would be the high point of my career as the director of this conference to get Anne Lamott as our keynote speaker. But she's too expensive, she's too big, she's too grand, and we're never going to get Anne Lamott or anyone like her. How do you think I keep the fees to this conference this low? So please do not say, could we get Anne Lamott as our keynote speaker? Thank you. Now, today's keynote speaker, and that was my first keynote address that I ever gave to a conference. And as a guilty ex-Catholic, I hate disappointing people, so I came out and said, hi, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Anne Lamott. But anyway, thank you so much for having me. It's so amazing. It's like I've never had the opportunity to let down so many women all at once. I look at this whole group and I go, wow, that chronic disappointment. I can just do it all. I'm here for two reasons. I'm going to plug my novel, but luckily for you, I'm not going to read from it. Because Vicki said this is maybe not a genre group, but this is the first in a series of mysteries. It's called Mirror Image. Just came out, and a lot of nice people said stuff about it, which meant it really cost a lot of money to get it. But anyway, for me the exciting thing is twofold. Number one, the hero is a therapist, as I am, and the story takes place in Pittsburgh, my hometown. And there have been a lot of crime stories that take place in New York, Chicago, Miami, But as my editor said, not too many people know about the mean streets of Pittsburgh. But actually, it turned out to be a really terrific place to set a novel because Pittsburgh is a changing city. When I was a kid, it was steel mills. I worked in a steel mill at college at J&L Steel, and very blue-collar, ethnic neighborhoods. And now, you would recognize Pittsburgh. There's no smoke, there's no factories, it's all, and so my hero, very much like me, is the first in his family to go to college, to wear a jacket and tie, to have a profession. And so I wanted to place the story against a city that's going through a big change, like a shot in a beer town colliding with the information age. And so I think that made it an interesting background. And the hero, like me, is Italian-American, went to Pitt, grew up in Pittsburgh. There the similarity ends. He's brave and resourceful.
Dennis, if you want to read from your book, feel free to read from your book.
No. It actually worked better to read from this one. Because, you want to hear about, murder and killing.
Oh, yeah,
sure. Maybe I'll read the first chapter. Well, actually, what I want to read, as Vicki said, I'm a therapist, and I work with primarily writers, but I do work with actors and directors and people like that. And so this is a book called Writing from the Inside Out, and it's a book about dealing with the psychological issues of writers, like writer's block, procrastination. I'm sure none of you have ever dealt with that stuff, but I struggled with it, so I thought, well, I'll write about it. And there's not a word of instruction on how to write in this book, but it is a book about how to survive being a writer. And so what I'm going to read is this last little chapter. Because most of the chapters involve my work with patients. But this is a friend of mine. I've disguised a few of the details to protect his confidentiality, but this is a true story. And I love reading this story. It's about 8 minutes long, I think, and I hope you like it.